Hi, I'm Michela from the engagement team at the Long Service Corporation. Thanks for watching our video on submitting your service returns in the Long Service Corporation's employer portal. So the portal has been built to give you a straightforward process with 4 steps to complete your quarterly service returns. The first step being reviewing staff access for who can access the portal. The second is to enter and upload your workers. Third being to enter and complete your service returns. And the fourth step, to pay your levy contributions. So in this video, we're going to focus on the steps for submitting your service returns. Now, when you come to the employer portal, the first step will be to ensure that the right staff have the right access. You'll do this through the Business Details tab. And when you get to that tab, you can then delegate access to internal staff depending on their function. So you would check your register of active delegates and what level of access they have. Now, in this video, we're dealing with the service returns function. So it would likely be your payroll team or the staff who cover the payroll function who will need portal access. Now, we recommend reviewing your staff access to the portal as part of your quarterly returns process. So the portal has been designed with separate functions for managing your workers and submitting the service returns. We do have a separate video on managing your workers and for the steps to uploading those workers into the portal. But in this video, we're going to focus on the steps in submitting your service returns. Now, the Service Returns tab at the top is where you can view, submit and track the service returns for your business. As you move forward with the scheme, you'll be able to search through your active returns and completed returns. You can start your service return. And to do that, you will need to make sure you have all the information about your active employees, start or end dates of any workers that have joined or left your organisation, your gross ordinary wages for those workers for the quarter, any reasons why there might have been people that were paid $0, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. And just noting that once you start your service return, you can save and resume and pick it up at a later point as well. And once you've opened the service return, there are 2 options for updating your information. So the first would be to edit the workers' dates and payment details individually, to go through line by line. But you've also got the option here to be able to upload through a CSV file as well. As a bulk load of all your workforce. But just noting on the CSV files, our functionality at this stage is that we are limited to 5 megabyte file sizes in uploading. So for our larger employers, if you may need to batch your CSV files there into limits of 999 workers per batch. But we do expect that functionality will increase over time. Now, you can save and come back to the record as needed. I will now touch on the zero wage code reasons. So there might be reasons why people are still on your payroll at the moment, still employed under your organisation, but currently having 0 wages reportable through the scheme. So that would be when they are on government paid parental leave or being paid directly through workers' compensation insurance payments. Now, it would also be for examples where work is not eligible for the scheme and noting in that situation, if it's work outside of the scope, that the worker wouldn't get any recognised service days for that. Now, once you've entered all your information, you can then review and submit your service return. The next step gives you the option to review the service return summary and the levy notice that's been generated. If you do find that once you've reviewed that, you need to go back in and make some changes, you can do that even after it has been submitted, and the system will keep like a submission history, so you have can track any changes that have been made over time. Now, just noting that after you have submitted your service return, that is the trigger that sends the notification to each of your workers that you have registered them with the scheme and invites them to complete what we call our service link. So confirm their service with you as their employer. Now, when they receive that notification, the next step for them they will need to use a My Service New South Wales account before they will be able to follow that link to the worker portal and complete their registration. Workers will need to be able to provide 2 forms of ID and to verify their identity before progressing. Now, just noting here that it needs to be 2 forms of ID that are approved forms of ID that line up with the current versions of their legal name. So we're encouraging people to consider, to look into this and consider what ID they have and make sure that that all does line up. That we haven't got maiden names, different versions of names, different spellings of names, different order that the names come in. All of those things will make it a bit more challenging. So looking into that My Service New South Wales account. Now, once they have verified their ID, they'll complete a few eligibility questions, and then the corporation will allocate them their unique worker reference number. So that will be the number that goes to any of their employers and allows their service to be tracked towards their future long service leave entitlements. Now, as far as further resources, we do have a series of short videos. So this one on submitting service returns, but we've also got videos on accessing the portal, managing your workers, and processing your levy payments. We have a new resources hub, so there's things like fact sheets, checklists, and an industry toolkit that may be helpful for employers as well. They can contact the corporation for further support. 131441 is our phone number. Emails through to info@longservice.nsw.gov.au, and please feel free to reach out if you are looking for our engagement team to come and have a talk or engage with your workforce. Please reach out. Now, as always, we appreciate your feedback on any of the sessions that we give. So the QR code there will take you to opportunity to give us your feedback. And thanks for joining today's session.